Board of Selectmen meeting, regular meeting, Wednesday, January 3rd, 2018. And this meeting is being shown live on Channel 9 and is being recorded and will be shown on Channel 9 throughout the week. If anybody's recording, you just have to let me know, okay? And with that, let's have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, while we're all standing, I would like to mention the passing of 3 residents during the past week. Virginia Peterson. Mrs. Peterson was one of the first teacher aides hired at the for the elementary and what was the junior high at the time. She's one of the originals when that program was instituted at the school department. Lenny Katabia, I think a lot of people know Lenny, a businessman, a farmer, a sports enthusiast, loved hunting, lifelong resident. And Thelma Pierce, who lived on Main Street. Thelma also was a longtime employee at the Dighton Elementary School cafeteria. And in their memory, I ask now for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Okay, the first order of business is to recognize our new deputy fire chief. So you want to say anything, or?
Sure. All right, Steve, we're here to recognize you tonight. Your appointment took place, as you know, January 1st. Steve's been a member of the Dighton Fire Department since January 1st, 1988. In April of 1999, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. And then again promoted to the rank of captain in May of 2006. I've had the privilege of serving the town of Dighton my entire tenure with Steve. He's been a wealth of knowledge and a mentor to me. I value his opinion and his commitment to the department and the town. Steve's 29 years of dedicated service, experience, and training are an asset to all that serve under him. For these reasons and many more, it is with great honor and respect I have appointed Stephen Ponce Deputy Fire Chief of the Dighton Fire Department. Steve, I look forward to continuing to work side by side with you to foster the growth and well-being of our department. Thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like to thank the chief for appointing me as deputy. I'd like to thank everybody that showed up tonight. Appreciation. It's a great honor to have all these people turn out for me. I'd like to thank the Board of Selectmen also. It's been a great pleasure. It's still a good pleasure. I enjoy, sad to say, but I enjoy every minute of it. And it's going to be a different role this time. I'm not going to be working. I'll have to help the chief and take command and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to a role change. And like I said, thank everybody for showing up tonight.
First, I think it's great, and congratulations, and I think, you know, all you guys make a great team, but it's nice to see the leadership and people stepping up, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I think what's very
Thank you.
important.
It's an honor.
Also, I think another thing that's very important is, as we've seen, when situations arise, if you have a strong line, staff line, command, things have a way of working out. And I'm glad to see that you're still in that line, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you very much for your 29 years of service. I really look forward to working with you in your role as deputy chief now very much. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I enjoy it.
Congrats. Very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
It was implied.
porta potty.
I want to thank all the members of the fire.
She's the boss.
Absolutely.
They all? I want to thank everybody for coming too.
Absolutely.
This is
Thank you.
we always fill the room when something's going on with the fire department. I think that's a wonderful thing and shows the camaraderie and the teamwork that you guys have, so I want to thank you for that. So, okay. You're welcome to stay if you want to go with me too.
I'm gonna hang.
It's not that riveting of an agenda. Our ratings will be down.
Oh, that's how we judge these things. Thank you, everyone. You are so cute.
I love these little kids.
Oh, little angels. So well behaved.
Hey, guys. Okay, so our next order of business is to recognize Jack Matoiza, who is an Eagle Scout. I guess we want to hear a little bit about how you finished your project and all that kind of stuff.
So the project was at my high school, which is Bristol Aggie. It consisted of reincorporating some old date plaques that were originally in the sidewalk that run down from the street light, the crosswalk to the cafeteria. And I took those and incorporated them in the Centennial Garden patio, which is behind the Floriculture building. Everything worked out pretty well with the school. They were very good to me, as in like getting supplies and everything that I needed. The only issue that I found was, timing. But it was, yeah, it was a very good goal to achieve.
Congratulations, Jack. Did we already sign up in your paperwork?
No, this wouldn't have been ours.
It wouldn't have been ours? Oh, it would have been ours,
No,
yeah, I'm sorry.
no.
Yeah.
No. We're glad you came in, because one of the things that the board had said was, no matter what the project is, we want to recognize everyone that attains Eagle Scout, because it's that important.
Yeah.
And whether it's a private property or public property, we understand what kind of work goes into it and what kind of leadership is required. So we're glad you came in.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely a lot of work, and you get people to help you out, and
Just to get to the point where you can do a project at Eagle Scout is a lot of work,
Yeah.
so congratulations on that. And also to your parents, because obviously it doesn't happen by magic. Huh? Yeah, you should be very proud of them.
I just wanted to congratulate you. I know it was a lot of work, and I know your parents are really proud, and I look forward to seeing everything you accomplish in the future very much. So
thank you
keep
very
us
much.
updated.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely. Thank
Now,
you very much.
what grade are you in?
I'm a senior.
Senior.
Yeah,
So when will you turn 18?
I already turned 18 in October.
Oh, so you finished your project?
Yeah.
Summer, okay.
Submitted his book one day before.
Is that?
Good time. Okay, well, great.
Thank you so
Very
much,
good.
John.
Thank you.
Congrats, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, good job.
You're very welcome.
Okay, next order of business, public input. Any public input? Stacy?
Does this count?
A few things. Tax season, way to help animals. Line 33F is for the Mass Animal Fund. This fund helps not only train ACOs and stuff like that, but helps dogs and cats to be spayed and neutered for those residents in town that may not be able to afford it. There are criteria. Since we started this program, we've done 7,500 cats and dogs.
Wow.
This year alone, we've done 1,041. I have used this program in town before, and it states here, if just every person in Massachusetts donates $1, we could help over 40,000 dogs and cats. So something that you'll be hearing a lot about.
And how do you donate to it?
It's a line on your tax
On your tax form?
form, line 33F. Put your amount in there. Everybody says, "Oh, I don't know how to help." This is a great way to help because everybody has to file your taxes.
And what it also does, I mean, it stops the reproduction of feral cats.
Right, we use this also for feral cats or any animal that I may have in my custody that needs to be done right away that we couldn't get funds for. Speaking of feral cats, I've had a lot of calls recently because it's very cold out that they want me to come get their feral cats. Legally, I cannot do that. Feral cats are considered wildlife in this state, so which means we feel they adapt to their surroundings. And it's been very cold, it has been, but they figure it out. If you're that concerned, call me, I'll show you how to make a little thing so you can put it in your backyard where that keeps them warm. But besides that, spaying and neutering them, there's not much I can do about them. They have to stay where they are. To bring them inside is more detrimental to them than letting them stay outside. And the third thing is, I have had a few calls, but not as many as I've had in the past. Please don't leave your dogs outside or your cats outside that are normally inside. Right now, the law states, it's changed, that if, because of the weather, the blizzard concerns that we have, you cannot leave your dog outside at all. You have to be attached to it while it potties and brings it back in. You can be cited if you do anything else. And I know there are people out there that have Huskies and Great Pyrenees and stuff like that like to be outside. I take that into consideration. But we can't leave our dogs outside, because, especially the ones that are in the house.
I have a question about that, and I'm just, because I'm not familiar. You said the law had changed. I remember, I think we had actually talked about this maybe a year ago. Didn't it used to be 10 or 15 minutes outside?
It was, but the laws have changed. They change regularly. Just like I never knew that if you have an outside kennel, you have to have plastic flaps on the front. That's something new that's been slipped into that law. So you used to be able to tether them outside for 10, 15, but in this kind of weather, you can no longer do that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Stacy, that was the state tax form, right?
State tax form, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Does that money go right to the town, whatever you donate?
No, it goes right to the state. It goes right to, it's not even the state, the Mass Animal Fund. It goes to them directly, and they train ACOs. They also do, but we can use it as a town. I've used it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Town administrators report.
I actually don't have anything to add. All of my stuff is under old business.
Okay. Okay, let's go to old business.
And then I would just, if you want to skip right to C, which the fire chief is here for. I mean, I'm here
Yeah.
all night,
Sure.
obviously,
Yeah, when
so.
we do
Yeah,
that.
we can do that.
What do we got for the ambulance?
Right here. There was an original with like a
Oh.
spreadsheet.
Okay.
You might have it actually.
I don't have the spreadsheet.
The original.
Well, you
had a
guys
couple
did the work,
things.
why don't you? present?
I have a spreadsheet.
There it is. Thank you. Here you are, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess, Chief, you can speak to this, but I'm just going to read the letter that you sent us on December 27, 2017, regarding ambulance billing write-offs. Dear Board, I'm writing this to recommend that the Board of Selectmen and the Fire Department write off the attached outstanding uncollected ambulance bills totaling $92,042.60. The uncollected debt included in the attached report are 7 years or older. Their bills on or before December 31st, 2010. These bills, by law, are not able to be pursued as owed to the town of Dayton. However, if a patient still has one of the bills and chooses to pay, even if they are written off, the funds for the bill can and will still be collected by the fire department or Comstar. If there are any questions regarding my recommendation, or if clarification is needed on anything, please don't hesitate to contact me at any time. Respectfully, Christopher J. McGee, Chief of the Fire Department. I'm not sure if you have anything to add, but I know that you worked with the town administrator and with Selectman Goulart on it, so I know you guys did your due diligence.
So what I will add to that is all those funds are currently with FFR, who is the collection agency that we use, or Comstar uses. It came to light to me earlier this week that those funds at FFR, FFR is no longer even pursuing them. So it's just revenue right now we have on the books that the auditor keeps looking at and saying, why is this here?
Right.
This is even more of a reason why we just need to move on from it.
Okay.
So I think it'll make your decision that much easier that nobody's pursuing it at all anymore.
I think this is an issue that's been going on for a long time.
Long
It's
time.
nothing, you inherited.
Right.
And so, can you tell us a little bit about what you see, what are you going to change in order to keep this from happening again?
I think Mallory and I are going to sit down next week. She's coming to visit the fire station. So we're going to sit down and I put together a recommendation on how we're going to do this in the future. And I'll just leave it at that until we kind of iron out the
Yep,
bugs.
okay.
Right now, what we need to keep in mind is there's a lot of money that's there, but we need to keep in mind that this goes back to 2005.
Correct.
So it's the 12 years or whatever that we're looking at having to clean up. So we just have to keep that in mind.
And I want to assure everybody this, and this won't get out of hand like this again.
No, once we get cleaned up to a point where we can make it more manageable, it'll be a lot easier. But right now, it's so overwhelming that I just need to get it to where I almost have a clean slate and can start over.
Absolutely.
I know based on when we had a discussion at the station, I left feeling really optimistic, like you had something in place for going forward. I appreciate the due diligence that you did with everyone involved. And if you have nothing further, I'm ready to.
No, and I'd just like to say Selectman Goulart did a lot of work on
Absolutely.
researching what was what and making sure things aligned, and I appreciate that.
We were able to, Dr. Z and I both had very old lists, and I was able to reconcile that with what Chris had, and the very few that I found, he was able to take care of those too. So everything that we looked at together reconciled.
Well, I appreciate, I know you guys worked on it, I didn't really have much to do with it, and you, and so I appreciate
And
the
I gave
effort.
it to, I gave copies to the chief and to the town accountant, so that when the auditors come up, we can show that we've
We
done
did something, yeah.
everything that we could do.
Great, well, thank you, everybody.
And
for
I would
doing
just echo the sentiments, thank everybody involved. It was a job well done, it was a big job, and I think it was relatively seamless. I mean, maybe Selectman
We're not-
Goulart doesn't think so, and Chief McKee, but for me it was. But I do
done yet.
thank you, and I think, just from what I know, the cliff notes of what's going to roll out in the future, I'm very optimistic as well, and I think it's a good plan, so. The formal presentation to the board on that is scheduled right now for January 10th. And then, of course, if anything changes, it'll be updated, but it'll be on the agenda.
It didn't take that long, simply because I think you and I had been over this thing so many times that,
Quite a few
that when I got what Chris had, that was in excellent condition. It was just a matter of zipping right through it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Do you want to motion something?
Are you accepting motions?
I am.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to write off the outstanding uncollected ambulance bills totaling $92,042.60.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again,
Chief.
everybody.
Very much.
Thanks for getting that, Chief.
And when you get to the next round, we'll take care of that one.
We're ready.
Oh,
okay.
well,
We'll get
whatever, Chris, we'll get through it.
Okay. Now you want to go,
You want to go back up to A?
Yep.
Sure. So a few meetings back, I devised a job description for all of you and sent it out for your review. I didn't get any comments back, which is fine. If you have comments now, I'll take them too. But there were, and for the public's benefit, in case you're just tuning in, my role is new, and we're just working out the different roles between what I'll take on. So I developed a job description as I see this role, and I'm looking for the board to basically agree or add comments, make revisions. There are 3 sections I've highlighted specifically. That would be a big change, one of which is the chief procurement officer. Right now, the town accountant is the chief procurement liaison, so we need to just settle that one up. And then,
Well, can I ask you, well, you may not know, I'm gonna ask the board. The original job description, or I'll say blurb that we gave to MRI, that, as I recall, mentioned chief procurement.
it
Okay.
did, it did.
So this isn't like new?
It's not
Okay.
new, and this was crafted from, you know, I added a few things in there, but this was crafted primarily from what was on the website under the town administrator page, which looked to me like a carbon copy of the
That was.
MRI. Yes, so I knew that you had agreed on it, so I used that and then added this kind of job description legalese that, you know, other duties as assigned and that kind of thing.
I think one of the important things about this particular paragraph is, you know, one of the basis of financial control is the person who pays the bill should not also be the person procuring. And so, you know, it makes sense to
She's
do.
not doing that, right, just so the public knows.
Yeah,
She oversees it, I just
Right.
want to assure the public.
Yeah.
And she is great
Yeah.
doing that,
I
but.
didn't mean there's no reflection
Right,
on
okay.
our account,
No,
no, absolutely
that
not.
position came about because there was no procurement
Correct,
officer.
exactly.
And it was supposed to be the chairman of the board who does not have the training. So she took
Exactly.
the training and was like the advisor.
Right.
Makes sense.
So those are the major things. Other than this, it's basically what I've been doing for the last month.
That works under the direction of, you get town administrator, it's board of
Oh.
selectmen. You can't work under your own.
I'm working under myself, apparently.
Yes.
You're right.
All right.
You're right.
Can I just ask a question, something not familiar with,
Sure.
sales they operate? But I'm sure it's not reinventing the wheel, and towns have this, they must follow similar roles. Is there anything in this that deviates greatly from the way
No.
towns typically operate, or is it just, it's rather than standard?
I view this as standard, and again, it was compiled with what the board had, before my arrival, what the board had put together through their consulting firm to do the hiring.
Which was based on
Other towns.
job descriptions from other municipalities in the state.
And the main difference between town administrators and other positions, I mean, other towns, you know, town manager versus town administrator versus administrator, their title does matter. And it basically references how much power, for lack of a better term, that position has. A town manager typically can hire and fire. That's not my role. I can advise the board of selectmen is still doing the hiring, still approving all of those appointments and things like that. So this doesn't take this is just kind of adding my role to it. It's not taking much away. It's more managing day to day so that these 3 individuals who have lives outside of their elected capacity
No.
can do what they need to do, and we can still run the town efficiently and effectively. And I also serve as I don't know, I call myself kind of a hub for department heads to go to so that they're not waiting for a meeting constantly to get what they need to get done. So that's basically what I do.
And I think-
He's a professional town administrator, too. I mean, we're not trained to administrate towns, but Mallory.
Training, background, education. What I would also like to add, just in like a nutshell version, the way I see, you know, the role of a town administrator is to implement the policies that we create and adopt on the Board of Selectmen. But we still consult with Town Administrator Aaronstein on those policies as well. So she's been great. I actually see no issue even with the highlighted paragraphs as well, so
Is there one
I don't know if
correction?
anybody else.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to take the under advisement until next week. I just want to go through it one more time, and I see those dark, I call them the dark areas. I don't think there's any major ones here, but obviously, when this is finalized, we're not going to have those dark areas there.
No,
They're
that's just
gonna-
because they're highlighted. yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but I just would like another week, please. So
I
make
have
a
no
motion-
problem with that, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll table that till next week,
No, under advisement for next
under
week.
advisement. Okay.
The other item is a goals. per my contract, I have to complete 2 goals for July 1. I put together 4, and I've sort of started doing these because I feel strongly that there's a need. But I put together 4. Each goal has an action plan attached to it as requested by the board, and you just need to choose 2, or I like them all. And a couple of them sort of work together, and we've actually started very closely doing number 3, which for the public's benefit is to streamline the process for Board of Selectmen meetings, developing a procedure for managing the business to come before the board, posting agendas, and completing tasks. And we do have that policy out there for public input. We've worked with Ms. Brady, and we are, I think it was very successful today, our meeting preparation, so we're very happy. So we've sort of already worked on that, just to give you
One thing I want to mention before I forget, we do need to read the meeting agenda policy for the second time tonight, and it's not on the agenda, so I just want to make sure we don't forget that. Was there something else I wanted to mention? Oh, my question for the board is, okay, so we have a decision to make tonight, I hope tonight, so that she's able to prepare for, the goals for July 1st. Do we want to choose 2 goals that she really has, that Town Administrator Aaronstein hasn't started working on? Or do we want to choose 2 goals that she's, like, we're kind of already doing?
Yeah.
So I guess that's the decision the board
I will
needs to
also
make.
say they're SMART goals in the sense that they are all attainable by July 1.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with what's here, and I don't personally intend to pick any of them out of order. I like number 1 because it affects everybody that works for the town of Dayton or has any kind of contact.
And it's kind of a hot
Employees, appointed, elected, volunteers, so that it's the broadest policy that affects the largest number of people.
Great.
But the rest of them, I would say work on them at your leisure, whichever, you're gonna be working on all of them at the same time. They're gonna be
And you
moving.
just have to
I
complete
can't
2.
stop.
Yeah, they're gonna be moving in like a circle, and by the time June 30th comes, you will have hit all of them.
Yeah.
But you'll work on them, and there may be times when you work up to a certain point and give it to the board and say, tell me what you think about where I am with this right now. And then you move on to something else, and we do the feedback exchange.
And we'll get
for the
updates.
public's benefit, the number 1 that Selectman Goulart is talking about is updating the Town of Dayton's harassment policy. It is just slightly outdated. This won't take long, but we'll do the whole reading 3 times and get it on the agenda and for public comment.
My thing, actually, I think you kind of already have done 2. So I think you kind of already chose it, and it was very needed. We did need to streamline the agenda issue, getting all the information for the meetings posted, etc. You're already been reviewing the policies and procedures manual. You've probably already gone through it 5 times by now. And I know you're going to keep working on that, and you're going to work with us on that, so I'm okay with that. My suggestion, I guess, if it's a suggestion, would be if we're already kind of talking about the position of procurement officer, I know you're very busy right now, but I would love to see you start attending at least one of the procurement classes, and not just for a goal, but literally for yourself to do the job. But I know you already have some experience with it, so I just would say keep moving.
Okay, so I'll work on these, I'll complete 2.
great.
I
And
think
then
that
we'll get a
but I'll get
follow-up.
'em.
We'll get a follow-up from you
at
as we
any
go.
given time, one of the 4 is number 1,
Exactly.
because you're gonna keep doing this.
Right.
And if you need feedback, or if you, number the policy, the harassment policy, if you put that out to the department heads or whatever, all right, so that's on the back burner for you, but they're looking at it, and then you're moving
Exactly.
on to the next one.
So what I'm getting is you're good on all 4, and we'll just,
They're fine.
And I
Check 'em off.
actually don't even see them as 4 in a way, because
They're
if
all
you're gonna
related.
update the town's harassment policy, it'll probably go in the policies and procedures manual, so it's kind of all happening together. I think it's a fluid, and I think you're doing fantastic.
thank you. So we'll get going on those. I would just need a motion to approve those because it's
Oh, yes,
contractual.
yep.
That's
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve all 4 of the policies that have been submitted, all 4 of the goals that have been identified and submitted by the town administrator.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great. Nice
you very
job.
much.
Very nice job.
Okay, so I actually have an updated version of this financial statement.
You need a copy?
I have one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, Karen, I'll get one for you. We're kind of under a deadline here for a financial statement because we are going out to bond for the police station, and to get a rating, we need to have some sort of financial statement. The town is operating with a reserve policy. The town's financials are very healthy, and they're great. We just need to put something on paper because the rating agencies like to see that. So I cobbled this together. They also like to see multiple groups in the town agree on something, and these main groups are Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, school committees. So because we're under a tight deadline, I cobbled this together based upon what I believe that we are already doing. I verified this with the treasurer collector and with the town accountant, and used their feedback to provide this to you tonight. The Board of Selectmen's role is to review it. I don't expect you to do it tonight. If you can, great, but I don't. We can put this on to take this under advisement tonight and act on it next week.
With the other thing.
And then the next piece of this puzzle is sending this to the Finance Committee for their review. Speaking with the chairman, he is ready to assemble that committee, and they can work on this. He's aware that we're doing it. Bond Council's looking to go out the first week of February. So we are kind of under this constraint, and we're doing what we can. But we can submit this the day of to her, and she can get it done.
You talked to the chairman of the finance committee about this, he's seen this?
He has not seen this because I did not want to take the liberty without showing
Yeah.
you and getting the feedback from the Board of Selectmen.
Do we need to approve this before it'll be sent to?
The Finance
Okay.
Committee.
We should do it before we send it to him?
I think so, because they're,
I would suggest you send it to them for feedback.
Right, I would say that, too.
Yeah. Get in touch with
Okay.
Mr.
Sure.
Swartz. And then see if there's anything that they can think of. Mr. Swartz may have comments.
I just didn't want to send anything out without the
One
board
gentleman's a CPA,
approving.
so he's very well
Yeah,
financially versed.
yeah. I think it's, I mean, we'll need to approve it, but I think it's pretty much on target, so
This works. Okay.
we can get the, close to a
Finance
final
committee.
version, then we'll be
Do
in better
you,
shape.
should we bring this back up next week?
Yeah,
Well, if,
We're gonna-
Do you want me to send it to Finance?
she's got to
Committee?
send it to the
Yeah.
Finance Committee. If you have feedback by next week, we can do it on next week's agenda.
We'll wait till we hear back.
But we have to, they need to meet
But-
and do their
Yeah, so-
thing, so.
Exactly.
we can even do it 2 weeks.
Okay.
That still gives us
Yep.
plenty of time.
Yep.
right?
And I'll make sure they are aware of,
Is there a deadline for our bonding agency to get this?
well, they're going the first week of February, and
Got time.
I've worked with this specific bond counsel in my previous employment, and she has received things the day of,
Okay.
though that's not ideal. And we do have technically policies on the book, they're just not, there's like a reserve policy, it's part of that manual. And this just would be approved by both entities, and that's very strong. It gives us a strong case for a
Okay.
strong
Okay,
rating.
and we've got time. We'll,
I'm optimistic we can get it done.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Swartz was confident he could assemble the finance committee.
Okay, great. Well, thank
So
you very
that's
much.
what that is.
Good job.
Thank you.
Serpent.
So I can give a quick overview of this. Originally, the agreement came in with a price tag of $25,000, but the grant was for $10,000. This is for the open space plan to be compiled by Serpent on behalf of the town, and it was received a grant through the community compact with the state in the amount of $10,000. When we saw the agreement, we were hesitant to sign because it put us on the hook for $15,000 more than we actually allocated. So bringing this up to them, essentially, the cost of putting together a plan is $25,000. However, they have moved some money around and are getting grants from other sources, this is Serpid doing that, that they can kind of compensate for our shortfall, if you even can call it that. They know that we're only doing $10,000, so we've amended the agreement to include $10,000, and he has a snippet in there, that agreement of this other source of funds. So this is the updated agreement for you to approve and sign, forward over, and they can continue their work on the open space plan.
Yep, I checked it. They changed it from 25 to 10,000, so I'm good to go if everybody else is.
So we make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize you to sign the Serpide Open Space Plan Agreement as prepared tonight.
In the friendly amendment, in the amount of $10,000.
In the
After all that.
amendment
Second.
taken.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries, thank you. New business, we're going to appoint Adele Sands to the Disaster Committee.
We talked about the name of this committee. Can we officially
Yeah.
change the committee
Please.
name?
Can I want to ask
Emergency-
one question before we change
Emergency
it?
preparedness, didn't we
Yeah.
say?
It was
That's what we
emergency preparedness. However, Town Administrator Aaronson gave me a really good idea, and I actually looked at Taunton, and they actually have like an emergency management agency. So my question for the
DEMA?
board is, yeah. Yep, so do we want to be the emergency management agency, or do
I think
we
we
want to
can-
be the
we-
emergency preparedness committee?
We're really a committee, because
That's fine
we
with
don't
me.
have an agency.
It's the same thing, we're gonna be doing the same work.
Yeah. I mean, that's my feeling, I don't
Sure.
know.
Emergency preparedness committee?
That's right, you would be the
Correct.
chair of that.
Which makes
What do you
sense.
So what would you
What do you
like to
want?
call
Are
it?
you saying you're more qualified than me in an emergency?
Yeah.
I saw you did 700. I don't, that name doesn't matter to me. I think disaster's kind of,
It just sounds so
people jump
catastrophic.
to extremes.
Right, yeah.
I agree.
What do you think about Emergency Preparedness Committee?
Probably more in line with, I figure it's just more in line with what the purpose of
Yeah.
the mission is, so. Mr. Chairman, if you're accepting motions, I make a motion to officially change the name of the Disaster Committee to the Emergency Preparedness Committee.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
In the old days, this was civil defense.
Yeah, right, exactly. So now we get back to appointing Adele Sands to the Emergency.
Has anybody
Prepared-
contacted her?
I don't know.
Yes,
Okay,
She's willing to?
accepted, yeah.
okay, good.
Okay, and Chief, is that fine with you? Is that fine with you? Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we appoint Adele Sands, the Superintendent Director of the Bristol County Agricultural High School, to the town's Emergency Preparedness Committee.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're gonna have to get a meeting together at some point, too.
Absolutely.
This impending storm kind of, was not a big thing, but it's, okay, excellent. Okay, we got a application for the gas service, installation agreement for the Dayton Police Station. And this is just, gives the gas company the ability to work with the contractor to get the gas installed at the new Dayton Police Station, so,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the application for gas service and installation for the Dayton Police Station.
gives me the authority to sign.
And, let me, I retract that motion. I rescind. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve to authorize you to sign the application for gas service and installation for the Dayton Police Station.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Good work.
Thank you. Okay. The next item of business is the Internal Revenue Service standard mileage rate for 2018. And the rate, the IRS updates this every year. What they've done, they've updated it 54.5 cents for every mile of business travel. That's up 1 cent from last year. 18 cents per mile for medical or moving purposes, and that's up 1 cent from 2017, and 14 cents per mile driven in service of a charitable organization. So I guess we need a motion to accept those and approve those for use in our town.
But isn't this it no matter what?
Well, we have to, no, we have to approve them, because, I mean,
It's really just acknowledging them, because
Okay, but
anybody,
whatever-
anybody reimbursing themselves would
Yeah.
go by these rates, so you just need to know about it.
What I'm asking is if we didn't do that, this is, I guess,
It
the
would-
procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, it would
You would
still-
still
okay.
be the same reimbursement, but.
The town
it's
accountant needs
educating.
something so that when
To go
people
on.
submit mileage reimbursements, that there's a vote of the committee,
So why don't we just say-
board, I should say.
so the motion is be to accept the IRS rates for reimbursement for our town.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the following mileage rates for 2018 as established by the Internal Revenue Service. 54.5 cents for business travel, 18 cents per mile for medical or moving purposes, and 14 cents per mile for mileage driven in service of charitable organizations.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Next is the use of a town vehicle by a health inspector. Was there something written on that? I thought I read something.
Is this health inspector or health agent? Is this Mr. Pilling?
Oh, sorry, health agent, that's my fault. They didn't send anything, this was a verbal, Roslyn told us. He just needs permission to use the vehicle for health agent stuff.
Which vehicle?
He uses the sedan one, not the van. The van is...
Building commissioner's
yeah,
one
right,
uses, yep.
exactly.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the use of a town vehicle by the health agent.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
When Mr. Pilling...
I will add for work-related travel.
My question is Mr. Pilling going to work, excuse me, is the health agent going to work out that system with the building commissioner directly? Because the building commissioner may need the
This is the
vehicle.
phone-
But
yeah,
that's
the phone.
internal, right? They'll...
Yeah, they'll
Okay.
have to,
And I
Come by.
didn't name the vehicle specifically, because if one is in the shop and he needs to go, he may borrow the one for the veterans.
Right.
Okay.
So, a town vehicle, period.
Okay.
Kind of related issue. Did we make a decision about putting a town insignia on the vehicles?
We asked Mr. Hershey to decide, and we have not heard back from Mr. Hershey, so...
We maybe put that
Excuse
on
me,
for
Veteran
next-
Services Officer.
I know his recommendation, I just don't know if he put
Official?
it in writing or if it's official. I know
Yeah.
how he feels on it.
Yeah.
When we voted that, we left it that he would get back to us.
Correct.
We'll
And
follow
he hasn't
up.
gotten back to us, so that means
So
he
why
So
don't
we
doesn't
didn't do
want it done.
anything.
So why don't we'll schedule, put that on the agenda for
Sure.
next week and...
Yep, we'll
So
follow up.
did we?
And I believe the building inspector's vehicle was supposed to be marked. It was only the it was the veterans agent that he wanted anonymity.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so we can get those, get
Oh,
that.
yeah, we voted already to have the building inspector's vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before we move on, Mr. Chairman, I think we should read at this time, if it's okay, the policy for the second time, before we forget.
Mr.
Does anyone
Pires
have a copy?
made a comment about it.
He did make a comment, yes. It was one, so I can go grab a copy very quickly. But he made a suggestion for the second line about, it's regarding what the policy that we're working on, what it applies to. In his reading of it, he said that it seemed to be contradictory to this open meeting law. I didn't get that.
I didn't get that
And
either. I did read the
his
email.
revision didn't seem to make it any clearer, but I did forward that over to you. I will.
Well, my thought before you go was simply, Mr. Pires was correct in saying that we didn't have to post it anywhere other than town hall. My interpretation is, as long as you satisfy the requirements of the open meeting law, doing anything in addition is just an addition.
It's a bonus.
Correct.
Right.
And we do
Except-
a lot of things in addition.
Absolutely.
But the main thing is about the posting is, under that law, I remember at the school department, each year, the school committee had to vote to designate the official posting place for the school committee agenda. And we had a bulletin board at the entrance to the superintendent's office, not the high school principal's office, but the superintendent's office, that was the official. It did get posted like, into the town offices and that, but you must designate the official, so that's why, obviously, this one out here is the official one.
When you go, once you go get that, and we'll go through some of the other announcements that are very, do
Thank you.
Do we have any correspondence?
you have any correspondence? The annual town election information, guess I'll read it again. These are positions that are up for election or re-election on April 7th, which is going to be our election. Assessor, it's a 3-year term. Dayton Rehoboth School Committee member, there's 2 positions open there, or are available for people to run for. Housing Authority, it's a 5-year position. Park and Rec, that's a 3-year position. Planning Board's a 5-year position. Public Library Trustee is a 3-year position. Selectman, 3-year position. Sewer Commissioner, 3-year commission. Town Moderator, 1-year term. and tree warden, 3 years. So,
Before we move on, you forgot the most important part. Nomination papers are available at the town clerk's office starting Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018, for the offices that Chairman Taylor just read. The last day to obtain papers is 5 p.m. on Thursday, February 15th, 2018. The deadline to return nomination papers to the town clerk's office is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, February 20th, 2018. For your name to be placed on the ballot, it is necessary to obtain at least 24 signatures of registered voters, which is 1% of the total voters who voted for governor in the last state election, according to MGL Chapter 53, Section 6. This is for the annual town election on April 7th, 2018 at the Dayton Elementary School from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please pay attention to the times. I believe it used to be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. We've shifted them to 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., so please take note of that.
okay, thank you.
I thought your important announcement had to do with tree warden.
Yeah, all right.
That's going to be a tough one.
Okay, do we have any reports from any of us? Well, the inclement weather we're going to experience tomorrow, I think everybody, I don't know if everybody knows, but Town Hall will be closed tomorrow. Most of the town departments will be closed. Obviously, fire, police, and highway will be out there doing their thing, but, but everything else will be closed. And drive safely, stay off the roads if you can, because I know the governor is asking for that. I don't know if he's declared a state of emergency yet, but he probably will.
He's told state employees to stay home. At the state level, it's essential and non-essential. So non-essential have been told to stay home. And he said, as many as employers that could tell their people, work from home, stay home, whatever.
So that's what we're going to do.
Okay. I have one, it's not a
I
report.
want to say one more
excuse
thing.
me.
The other thing is, if you haven't submitted your email address so you can be on the town's email list, I would recommend you do that, or if you know anybody, suggest they do that, because today, for example, we're going to send out an email to everybody on that list about what's going on tomorrow, so.
And
It's a good
special announcements.
Yeah, so it's a good way to
Absolutely.
keep in touch. We're trying to send more and more stuff out on that, so sign up.
Absolutely.
Just, not a report, but just one other announcement. Saturday morning, really on a Saturday, this coming Saturday morning at 11 a.m., there is a meeting of the Financial Advisory Committee, Board of Trustees, Aggie School, County Commissioners. Everybody will be there. And the purpose of the meeting is to act on the upcoming bond issue for the building expansion over there. I think most people have heard that they have a planned expansion that's estimated to be at $103 million with approximately a 50% reimbursement. So we're looking at a $50 million bond issue at the county level, and they will be acting on that. Anyone who's interested and would like to see anything about the buildings as they currently exist and what the plans are, there will be a tour at 11, there will be a tour at 9, there will be a tour at 10, leaving from Keith Hall, which is what we call the old dormitory. This is an open public meeting. The actual meeting will begin at 11 a.m., so if anyone's interested in either touring or sitting in on the discussion relative to the building project at the Aggie School, all are welcome, assuming we can get there.
Yeah. Leave that to the...
I'm riding with you, Selectman Goulart.
You're riding with me, okay. We'll leave it up to Mr. Ferry.
Okay, great, thank you. So,
So here is I don't know why that keeps happening, but that
that
doesn't,
doesn't
that's fixed. So that is the policy, and I printed out Mr. Pyer's
Why don't you-
comment.
yeah, and which
Can we
paragraph
read
is...
the policy first and then
Right.
his remarks, just
Okay.
so everybody can understand where he's coming from? Okay, so this is the Board of Selectmen meeting agenda policy background. The Board of Selectmen hereby adopts a policy for posting agendas for its meetings to ensure compliance with the open meeting law promulgated by the Attorney General as a result of the 2009 Ethics Reform Bill. The purpose of the open meeting law is to ensure transparency in the deliberations on which public policy is based. Selectmen's meetings are subject to the open meeting law, the agendas for which are required to be posted at least 48 hours in advance. Purpose. The purpose of this policy is to establish a procedure that promotes efficiency and transparency in governing and encourages civic participation at selectmen's meetings while ensuring compliance with the open meeting law. Policy. This policy shall apply to the Board of Selectmen meetings, excluding in cases of emergency. This policy shall not apply to any other board, committee, or commission. All items to be discussed at the Board of Selectmen's meeting will be submitted to the town administrator in ample time to allow the meeting to be posted not less than 48 hours prior to the meeting. Submission of items for the Selectmen's meeting on Wednesdays at 7:30 PM shall be submitted no later than 12:30 PM on the Monday prior to the meeting. Any agenda item not received by the aforementioned deadline will be deferred until the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen. When a holiday falls on a Monday, items for the Wednesday meeting shall be received by 12:30 PM on the Thursday preceding the holiday. Prior to posting, the agenda will be approved by the Board of Selectmen's chairman. After an agenda has been posted, revisions or additions of unforeseen urgent items may be added to the agenda with the approval of the chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Signatures. And that's it.
Okay, and the sentence, the sentence that Mr. Pyers had highlighted was as follows. It was the very beginning of the policy section. This policy shall apply to the Board of Selectmen meetings, excluding in cases of emergency. This policy shall not apply to any other board, committee, or commission. So that's what we have written in the policy, and Mr. Pyers said that this second sentence, meaning that the policy does not apply to any other board, committee, or commission, could be perceived as being contradictory to the statute. I don't really see that, but maybe...
Is he taking the word board literal?
I understand what he's
I know what he's
saying.
saying.
I understand what he's saying.
Did he rewrite something?
He said perhaps something like, this does not change the existing policy practices used by other boards, committees, or commissions that are presently utilized to comply with the requirement of the open meeting law.
Yeah, the way, when you put those two together, if you think about literally what our policy says, it sounds like they're exempt.
Right.
That we're granting an exemption, so
Oh, from the open meeting law.
because we're saying that they don't have to
Okay.
do thus and so and all that. and-
Okay, I
And especially
understand
with if a new committee's formed and nobody is familiar with the open meeting law,
Correct.
they might say, oh, we don't have to apply because this says.
So
Let's chat.
So we would just add that sentence
Yeah.
onto this, is that right?
If we strike the sentence that we have and insert therefore what Mr.
What Mr.
Pius
Pius said,
has submitted,
yeah.
It,
I think it further clarifies it.
Read it again.
Mr. Pyers' comment?
Yeah.
This does not change the existing policy practices used by other boards, committees, or commissions that are presently utilized to comply with the requirement of the open meeting law.
That's a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have
so
to
we'll
read it. That's a lot
insert
better.
that.
Do we have to read it 3 times again?
I think what we'll do is, we should do, because we added the Monday sentence the last time, okay? So we'll read it one more time, and if there's anyone else has any feedback or questions, okay?
Right, so we've posted this, we did get the comment to post this on cable, and I asked, and it really isn't suitable for
can't-
their...
you won't see
You
it.
can't see it.
You won't be able to
So
read it.
I will say, if anybody would like me to mail them a copy, call me up, I'd be happy to do that, or stop by if you can, and we can do that. But the only other comment I received were relative to where we post, and that's not really what this policy is getting at.
no.
But I did want to address that with the public. So Mr. Pyers' comment was
I
the
like
only
it.
one that we received relative to it.
If we read it for the third time next week, it might be good if we vote it the following week, just in
Give
case.
some-
There's,
okay,
just
I'm
in
fine
case
with that.
anybody says, wait a minute,
It's a good idea.
you know,
I like that.
so we'll read it for the
With the
third
corrections,
time
yeah.
with the latest update. And then the following week, if there's no other feedback or anything else, we can vote to approve it as it was read the third time.
Sounds good.
So that vote would be taking place on January 17th.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Pyers.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Pyers.
Thank you, Mr. Pyers.
Good going, Tom.
It's almost like he served on the board before.
Yeah, I think he might be knowledgeable.
Okay, why don't we do the other announcements that we have? You want to do some?
Yep. Trash bags, sharps disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. Please call 508-669-6431 for more information. There are vacancies on the Open Space Committee, Historical Commission, Land Use Committee, and the Capital Outlay Committee.
And you know, we keep reading the same thing, so please, somebody, volunteer so we don't have to keep reading this thing. Those are all very good committees, too.
Absolutely.
So,
Senator Mark Pacheco will be, the other thing, so we tell people that there are vacancies. If you would like to apply, please send, a letter of interest, maybe some background on yourself, to boardofselectmen@townofdighton.com. You can email that. We also have a volunteer form on the website that you can fill out electronically, so you don't have to come to town hall if you don't want to. We do also have paper copies of our volunteer applications in the office as well.
Can I ask at one point?
Yeah.
I don't remember how far back, a suggestion was made that, particularly those committees that have openings, do a quick 2 to 4 minute presentation someday.
Yeah, we did
I
talk
don't
about
know
that.
if there's a follow-up to that.
Yeah, no, he brought it up before. So why don't we,
We just have to schedule them all in. That's,
yeah, so we'll do that when
Ooh,
we.
like an
when we-
elevator pitch. Yeah, we're competing.
so 2 minutes, go.
But that's true. If each committee speaks and says, this is what we do, a big thing, because we found this with the cemetery committee, I approached somebody to see if he would serve, and he says, well, I'm pretty busy with it. I said, they might meet once or twice a year, and then they had like 3 meetings. But anyhow, he did get appointed to it, and he enjoys working with it. So these committees don't meet every week. They might not even meet every month. So it's not like you're going to be tied up.
Some are just as needed, as
Exactly,
posted.
So
exactly.
you want to see if they can come and talk to us, or even give us something to read if we can.
Oh,
help.
yeah. If they don't, if they can't make
Just
it.
a little mission statement
Yeah.
from them? Sure.
Well, and like if they're working on a certain project,
When they meet.
and how many times did they meet in the last year, just to give you a rough idea, so that people understand they're not making a lifetime commitment.
I actually really like the idea of at least getting a paper statement, because even if they didn't show up, we could put that on the website. So if somebody went to the webpage, they'd be able to see what the whole purpose of that committee is. So I like that.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Senator Mark Pacheco will hold 2 upcoming senior health and wellness fairs. Representatives from state and local senior agencies will be in attendance to provide information on senior health programs, benefits, and wellness activities. Blood pressure, glucose screenings, and flu shots will be offered Tuesday, January 16th, 2018, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Roseland Ballroom, 174 Broadway, Route 138, Taunton, Massachusetts. Friday, January 19th, 2018, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Middleborough Town Hall, 10 Nickerson Avenue, Middleborough, Massachusetts, 02346. To confirm attendance, please call Senator Pacheco's district office at 502-822-3000.
508.
Oh, 508-822-3000. Dog licenses are available. Massachusetts general law requires that all dogs 6 months of age be licensed. Applications were included with your census. And please don't need a second mailing, they are costly to the town. Please complete and return your census even if no changes are needed. For assistance, call the town clerk's office at 508-669-5411, option 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any acknowledgements?
No acknowledgements.
Do we have, with no minutes to approve? Okay, we got some warrants to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 27A-18 in the amount of $90,315.25 payroll, and warrant 27B-18 in the amount of $45,819.60 accounts payable be approved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Any other public input, or anybody want to say anything else? Okay,
I wanted to just congratulate our new deputy chief one more time, and thank you so much. We really do. We're really proud of you, and I really do look forward to working with you and everything you guys will achieve for the
I
department.
echo that. but-
Chief McGee, as you make promotions, do you have other spots to fill in the chain of command?
Oh, that's a good question.
So you'll be bringing in other recommendations? Yes. Is it 2 more? There's 2 spots, right?
This is a preview of next
Yes.
week's meeting.
I think we're going to have you come in and make a presentation about a lot of things.
Okay, all right,
I
fine.
have a few that I would like to do, but I would like to discuss it with the board. And
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
I have 2 call positions that I can fill.
Okay, I wasn't talking about call, I was talking about the chain of command, where both, quite frankly, your brother and you came from.
Right.
So that chain has four slots, I think. Or it did have.
I think he's gonna make a presentation, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 4 slots previously. There was a chief, a deputy, a captain, and a lieutenant. And then we have another lieutenant, but that's Chris, he's a full-time.
He's a full-time person.
So, yes, there's some more promotions that I would like to do, yes.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you.
And that would be included in my presentation.
Okay, very good.
Well, yeah, congratulations again.
Congratulations.
I think you guys look sharp in your uniforms. Nice.
Absolutely.
So, anyway. Okay.
I gotta tell you, every time I come down the road and see fire trucks out there, I think, uh-oh.
And you've done I said this before, you've done a tremendous job of bringing this department together. All the leadership there has, it's just tremendous. Yeah, I know, but it's tremendous.
I just
and
am
really-
curious, so I want to ask.
And I don't
you
want to
this.
forget your brother either, because he
Absolutely.
stepped into a tough situation, let me put it that way.
Who in the department, or actually, let me back up. Did you have someone to lean on before? Because you didn't have a deputy chief before,
No, Mike was the deputy.
Mr. Pons.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
You were still leaning on.
Steve was still captain,
Deputy chief.
who I rely on
Yep.
tremendously with calls. So, you know, that's the biggest thing. I mean, we're really shorthanded as, you know, with command staff, as Selectman Goulart saying. So we need to fill those positions, and that's really a priority. And hopefully I can work with Steve, and we both have a lot of ideas that we've been bouncing back and forth for the last 2-3 months. So, you know, we'll work through and we'll get it figured out.
Good work, chief.
Okay, I'm gonna entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I think you need to read.
Yeah,
You
I
need.
forgot. Sorry, we didn't go perfect today. I forgot to write up the thing. So
Okay.
it's pursuant Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exemption 3, to discuss pending litigation.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Aye.
We will not
Aye.
be coming back,
Aye.
we'll not be coming back into open session, so. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone, be careful tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stay in if you can.
Not you, chief.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Essential personnel. You're essential personnel.